Hello. I hope your day is going well so far. I want to talk and read a little bit about the role of avoidance. That was me, big time, but not anymore. Avoidance is one of the main ingredients when it comes to unhealthy patterns and habits. Did you know that? Yeah. It's the avoidance of our own anxiety, fear, anger, and insecurity that often leads to the development and maintenance of unhealthy behaviors. In an effort to not feel or think negative thoughts and feelings in the moment, we find ways to escape them. We have to stop leading with all this fear and avoidance. It's killing us slowly, my opinion. The problem with this strategy is to fold, basically. We're folding like laundry. First, it only offers a temporary relief. Second, the behaviors that we commonly use to avoid our discomfort are often unhealthy. For example, using substances to avoid emotional pain, procrastinating on a project because of fear of failure, or not engaging in social interactions because you are fearful of being judged. That was me. While these behaviors may temporarily give you a sigh of relief, they actually make your angus larger and more debilitating. The temporary escape, however, sets the foundation for unhealthy pattern and habit development and maintenance of it. Because we crave that instant relief, we are more inclined to repeat these behaviors, unfortunately. Can they hurt us? These behaviors, of course, I mean. While patterns and habits clearly help us navigate our world, sometimes our ability to alter, modify, and change aspects of them may not be working well. The more flexible we are with our behavior, the more adaptable we become to our environments. It's when we are unwilling to shift and change our habits and patterns that they can become unhealthy. During childhood, we develop certain patterns to help us navigate our world and our upbringing. Typically, these patterns come from modeling those of our caregivers. Did you know that? We repeat what we see. And for me, that was not good. It's opposite to those of our caregivers. A child raised in a toxic family environment that may include abuse, neglect, or parental substance abuse will form patterns of behavior that help them survive. So these kids are on survival mode. They're not living. My opinion. While these patterns may be effective during one's upbringing, they lose their functionality as life changes over time. In other words, what was once an effective pattern is no longer healthy for you. If our patterns don't adapt, neither will we. We become higher risk for anxiety, depression, substance abuse, and even physical illness. Maintaining behavioral patterns that are no longer effective also impacts the way we view ourselves within all types of relationships, including parenting, marriage, dating, and work. For example, if you were taught growing up that it is selfish or rude to focus on your own needs, you may become something of a people pleaser. That was me. As an adult, gravitating toward those whose needs routinely take precedence over your own. Yes. Alternatively, internalizing the message that your needs were irrelevant as a child may lead you to project that view onto others. And I've projected that onto my kids. I had a wound from my childhood, and I had no clue that I was mindlessly parenting that in. You see, the damage is way deeper than we could ever imagine. Sorry, I have pronunciation as well as stutter problems at times. I forgive myself. I'm going to say that again. Alternatively, internalizing the message that your needs were irrelevant as a child may lead you to project that view onto others, making your own needs the focal point of your relationship at the expense of others. The good news, however, is that regardless of age, how long you have had a particular habit, or how unhealthy that habit is, behavior change is possible by systematically integrating tiny, incremental changes throughout your day. The problem with inconsistency. What do you think would happen if habits and patterns did not exist? If there was no predictable order of events or behaviors? With no ability to predict what comes next? We would feel extremely overwhelmed, anxious, and out of control. When we make the commitment to change our habits and patterns, it's essential to start very small and gradually introduce additional behaviors, while the ultimate goal is for these baby steps to eventually become habitual and automatic. The most important aspect is consistency, people. It is better to remain consistent with a small step than to be inconsistent with bigger steps. Why is this the case? Because inconsistency in behavioral change creates what's known as an intermittent reinforcement schedule. This behavior schedule is the basis of addictive behaviors, such as gambling and drug addiction. These intermittent spurts of dopamine, our feel-good chemical, right out of the brain, make such behaviors addictive in nature. When we never know what we are going to get, it creates feelings of uncertainty, a loss of control, and heightened stress and anxiety. This inconsistent predictability is also a factor in why people get trapped in the cycle of toxic relationships. When our significant others, friends, and family are consistent in their attention and responsiveness towards us, the relationship is viewed as dependable, predictable, and safe. It leaves very little room for ambiguity and uncertainty. You know exactly where you stand and what you can expect from them. However, when they appear hot and cold for no apparent reason, or randomly disappear without warning, it can leave you feeling confused and anxious. We have all heard the saying, walking on eggshells. I heard it to death. People accuse me of doing that when it comes to my mother and our relationship. That's a whole nother life. This notion comes from the idea that inconsistent relationships, we never know what we are going to get. We are constantly monitoring our behaviors, our words, and our emotions in an effort to gain some sense of consistency. Sometimes we are comforted. Other times our feelings are dismissed. There is no predictability. This is intermittent reinforcement. When applied to relationships, intermittent reinforcement creates a toxic cycle that is extremely difficult to break. What does it look like? Repeated breaking up and getting back together, explosive arguments, physical and emotional abuse, and codependency. The unpredictability of these dynamics creates an addictive-like quality that becomes extremely difficult to break, causing intense relationship anxiety. You do the math. I'll be back.